subject we have for now. And we are going to look at business law. Our previous class we discussed turnover, cost of goods sold, net profit, gross profits. We took an example and we discussed all of this. So if you have not watched that class, go back and watch it. And so my student that asked the question on how we can calculate for turnover in business, cost of goods sold, how to get your gross profit and your net profit. I've dealt with that question in my previous class on social and commerce. So welcome to the class. It's my pleasure having you here. If you are a new person in the channel, consider subscribing. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you. If you like what we do here, give us a thumbs up. If you know those who will benefit from the class, invite them in. We want to grow this channel. We want to bring more students. We want to bring more parents. We want to bring more persons into the channel. Let's make these videos go viral. Let's help people to learn more. The purpose of which we created this channel is for you to learn everywhere you are. Learn at home, learn at school, learn anywhere. It's a mobile class. Learn as you go. Our motto is bringing learners, bringing teaching close to you, bringing teaching close to you, bringing teaching to your home. So it's my pleasure. Business law, it's our topic. We'll look at different objectives. What is law? What is business law? What are the branches of commercial law? And then principle of agency. So now let's look at law. After we've explained law, we will put business into it. What is law? It is a set of rules, a set of regulation put together by the community or by the government to control the affairs of people who live in the community, and then put out modality to punish those who have failed to adhere to these laid down rules and regulations. That is law. A systematic development of rules and regulations that will govern a community, that will govern a state or govern a country, that will help in punishing lawbreakers, that will help in regulating business activities, and that will help in influencing and affecting the social relationship of people. That's what I see as law. Let's look at what we have on the board. That law is the body of rules of a given society or community which recognized as obligatory by its members. It is recognized as obligatory, that is important, by its members, of which non-compliance attracts penalty. Now let's explain this first part. It is a body of rules that is given to a society or a community that if it is not complied with, it is going to attract penalty or punishment. And so law, it is a system of rules that a society develop in order to deal with crime, in order to deal with business agreements, and in order to deal with social relationship. So dealing with crime, business agreement, and social relationship. That is law. Now, having known what law is, now let's put business into law. It is a law. Okay, let's say it is a rule. Rules and regulations are laid down in order to carry out business activity. It has to do with the establishment of first business activity, termination of business activity, and the overall establishment and dealings of a business. So business law is that part of law from our explanation that is developed to help us in carrying out our business agreement. And this business agreement can be in areas of establishing it, in areas of terminating it, and in areas that helps to foster growth in business. So it is rules and regulations that govern business or businesses. That's business law. Now, the next area we're going to look at is branches of commercial laws. What are the branches? Well, I've seen the first two objectives. We talk about law, we talk about business law. Now let's look at branches of commercial law. What are the branches of commercial law? I'm going to talk about 6 of these branches. Contract law, property law, business law, company law, or corporate law. Company law or corporate law. We have intellectual property law, and then we'll talk about tax law. These are the 6 areas of commercial laws that we'll look at in this class. We'll talk about contract law. Contract law has to do with law that covers business contracts that brings in 2 parties or more parties, agreement on the terms of the contracts, duration of the contracts, termination of the contracts. That is for contract law. Then property law has to do with the purchase of property, the leasing of property, the buying of property, the selling of property, whichever term it's reached on how a property is going to be disposed, whether buying, whether selling, whether leasing, or whichever form it takes. This law, under this commercial business law, covers that area. Then we look at business law. Business law are rules and regulations that governs a business in the aspect of its establishment, in the aspect of agreements that will be put in place by those who are coming together for the business, and then area of terminating the business. That is from business law. Then company or corporate law has to do with how the company intends to raise capital, how the company intends to absorb new members, like you have in partnership and limited liability company, how the company intends to put up their shares for sales, how they intend to share dividends, and other things that the corporation covers. And then we have intellectual property law. We have direct property and indirect property. Visual property that people can see, tangible property. But in this intellectual property law, it covers copyright, artwork, the originality of the owner who originally owns an artwork, the law that covers him in case of people trying to take up the work or trying to impersonate. Then we talk about copyright, the right that covers an individual who is the original owner of a write-up and those who will want to come and impersonate. And the law covers these people. So the individuals who comes to claim the right of what they are not, they can be sued. Copyright has its own law. Artwork has its own law. So this has to do with creativity, creative arts. either in acts as sculpture and the rest of them, or acts of writing and other things that you are the original owner of it. Then tax law, how corporations or companies have to pay tax to the government, tax regulation, rules and regulation governing how tax is to be remitted to the government, directly and indirectly, percentage that has to go to the government, and how to punish defaulters of those who evade tax. These are the branches of commercial laws. So we discussed 6: contract law, property law, business law, company or corporate law, intellectual property law, and then the tax law, which has covered the third area of our class for today. And now we look at the last area, principles of agency. What are the principles of? Let's look at the final objective for our class, principle of agency. In principle of agency, we are going to talk about 2 areas: the principal and the agent. That's the principle of agency. The principal and the agent. The principal is the person who authorizes the original owner or the person involved in a business transaction that gives power to another person. The person who he delegates power or authority to is an agent. And this agent executes what the principal have asked him or her to do, and in return for an incentive or a fee, there is remuneration, there is incentive attached to it. So the principle of agency is a relationship between parties where one delegates some decision-making authority to the other. The principal delegates authority to the agent, who in turn will be responsible for maximizing the principal's investment in exchange for an incentive such as fee. So the agent charges the principal a fee for carrying out its function. So the principle here is the principal delegates, give authority to the agent to carry out what they have agreed on his behalf. The principal executes it, and it's in line with business transaction. It can be an investment or anything that surrounds the business environment. And so the agent or the person that power have been delegated to will have to execute the principal main aim, and then get an incentive or get a fee for executing it. That is the principle of agency. Power being transferred from the principal to the agent or to the agency in order for the agency to carry out the mind of the principal who have given him power to carry out his or her mind. That's the principle of agency in business. So we have seen the 4 objectives we have for the class. We've seen what law is, what business law is, the branches of commercial laws, and then finally the principle of agency. We will talk more on business law in our next class. So we are going to have part 2. Follow along as we discuss other areas in our business law. As young entrepreneur who will want to go into business, there are laws that can help you to establish your business and to run it smoothly under government regulatory. So that's why we are taking this subject. So follow along. One thing is to learn, one thing is to remember, and one thing is to practice. So watch, re-watch, try to understand it. Ask your question below the comment box if you have any. If you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and smash this subscribe button. Like what we do here if you actually like what we do here. Invite more persons if you know of those who will benefit from it. Thank you for always dropping by. I'm sorry for the background noise that you are hearing during the course of this video and other of our videos. We'll try to put in modality to see whether we can control the background noise. Until I come your way next class, thank you for being our community.